Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber, and thanks for joining us. A lot's happening here on the program, so let's get started. Okay, little sidebar right there. Let's break out and try to understand exactly what we can expect for today. Joining me, aside from Cheryl Dorsey, is trial attorney Segal Blakeman. Segal, it's great to have you here. I want to ask you an important question here. What happens, and I don't know if this is going to happen, what happens if the Adelsans are called to testify? What would that look like?
Quite frankly, it probably will be a circus. I don't know that they're going to be called to testify. I mean, they've been evading that up until now, and I think they're going to continue to try to evade it because I don't think they want to testify. I think they're scared. And
we know that they've been watching it. We know that his ex-girlfriend, Charlie Adelson's ex-girlfriend, went on the stand and said she communicated with him the day before her testimony. What's that about?
Well, again, if you heard what that ex-girlfriend said, she also mentioned something to the effect that I think he mentioned something about a hitman to her or hiring a hitman to her. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know why they're not testifying other than Wendy.
Well, let's see. I mean, who knows? We just started the day. We still have this forensic examiner on, and we'll see who's going to testify next or upcoming. We think the prosecution is going to be finishing up their case, and then I think each side for the defense said they need about a half a day to present their case. I don't know. Let's go live, and we'll hear more. So Cheryl, are you getting the sense that what the defense is trying to say is things might not have been on the up and up in terms of how investigators looked at the Adelsans or first targeted them, or the tactics that were used to go after them? What is the sense that you're getting there?
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that, they didn't do a thorough and complete job. They didn't cross their T's and dot their I's. But listen, if they would have heard something that would have given them reason to get the authority, like he said, he doesn't know what's required to tap into Wendy's phone and some of the others. And so why do it? It's not necessary. If they were gleaning information that was germane to their investigation from the others, then that's sufficient.
Segal, let me ask you this. If these two are convicted, and I've asked this question to multiple guests, and I'm curious your perspective. If Magbanua, Garcia are convicted, Luis Rivera already pled guilty. Now you have everybody who's at fault there, or allegedly at fault. What happens next with the Adelsans? As a prosecutor, do you then say, hey, listen, we might be able to shave off time. We might maybe make your stay in prison more, I don't know, enjoyable if you decide to testify against the Adelsans? Provide us something, Mr. Garcia, Ms. Magbanua. How will it work?
I think that's their plan. I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. If they do get convicted, I think they're relying on the fact that they're going to want to save their own butts and make some sort of a deal. And in order to get this deal, they may have to give up the Adelsans. And that's really what they're hoping for, because I don't think they had enough to go on to get the Adelsans indicted.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were questions as everything we're hearing in this case. Well, how did you not go after them? There seems to be so much circumstantial evidence. All right, it's important to understand how we got the wiretaps, the legality of the wiretaps, before the jury ultimately hears what's on those conversations. Now, Cheryl, based upon what the defense was saying, was there anything off about the protocol? Was there anything off to you or against procedure about who's directing who? Or does it seem that these wiretaps and the information that was collected was all done according to normal procedure?
I didn't find anything off. I believe that the attorney was trying to infer that they had maybe done something wrong or there was something more that they could have done. But the fact of the matter is, if it's my investigation, you don't get to dictate to me how to conduct it. I will conduct it how I see fit, and the things that are important to me are the things that I'll do.
Now, here's the problem, Segal, okay? We're waiting to hear what's on these communications. And obviously, if you read about this case, there's one communication between Jessica Rodriguez, who was involved with Rivera, and her conversation with Magbanua. And she said, the reason your husband is in jail is because of you and Charlie. And that's pretty bad. So if you're a defense attorney, how do you fight against what we're about to hear on these tapes? Because if they were entered in properly, and they're all done according to procedure, how do you fight against what we're about to hear?
Well, this is exactly what they were just trying to do. They're trying to poke holes into the whole procedure in the way that these wiretaps were handled by saying they were not thorough. They picked and chose what they wanted and who they wanted to listen to. So you're not going to get the full story, and they're going to take things out of context. So they're going to say, well, they can't just isolate these conversations out of thousands and thousands of conversations because they benefit their theory. What about all the other conversations that they decided not to tape? So they're already putting this into the juror's mind that, you know, there's going to be holes here. These are not, as the sergeant just testified, they don't record every single conversation. They decide what's important to them.
Right.
So that's what's going to be their weakness.
That's a great point. That's a great point. They may be telling a story there, the state, but is it an accurate story? Let's take a break. When we come back, new witness on the stand. Stay tuned.